Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog. Alliance? If you put an S in front of Alliance, you have Salience. That's me.
Well, that's him. Mr. Rick Del Santo is with us once again this week. Not really sure why he wanted to be tortured for 2 weeks in a row, but apparently he did. So, Mr. Santo, what's going on?
Obligations.
What? Contractual obligations. Teach you to do business with a man like Jay. So what's up in your world?
Up quite a bit today, but I want to thank everybody for letting me back here and enjoying the coming back here to the Alliance show.
Well, thank you. Anything exciting going on in the world of wrestling for you? Were you able to hear me?
Nope, I cannot hear you. All I hear is sounds like a robot.
Sounds like a robot. Well, you entertain the crowd, and I'll see what I can do to fix it.
All right. Well, folks, I'm going to press. Sorry.
Well, that didn't work, did it? All right, crowd, how are you all out there today?
You sound way better now. All right.
Yeah, I had to change microphones and then change it back. That's the way it tends to work. So, anyway, what's going on in the wrestling world of Rick Del Santo? Could you hear me?
Nope.
Well, let me check one thing real quick.
Sure thing.
Well, I can hear myself on the YouTube channel.
I don't know why you're not coming through on my end then.
I do not know. I am gonna blame.
Muffled, so.
I'm gonna blame your headset. That's what I'm gonna do because I can hear myself. Willie has his Tires joke of the day. Hi guys, Tires won gold medals in the Olympics for breaking all the toilet seats in the stadium. Which
I'm gonna try something. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while Rick tries to straighten out his hearing things, are you all hearing me? Anybody out there, can you hear me? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know who I am? Do you know why we're here? Do you know what the meaning of life is? Any of that stuff? If you do, let me know. Millennial Noob says, good evening, Alliance crew. How are you doing right now? Or doing this week? Well, I'm doing fine. Jaden's here. Jaden, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. Rick having issues?
Well, he said he wasn't able to hear me, that I was breaking up and stuff, but when I listened on YouTube, I could hear myself fine, and Willie says I'm coming through loud and clear. So,
yes, and I hear you. Sorry, I hear you as well as normal anyway, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive me for that.
So,
what's going on in your world?
Not much. Classes. Tried to get more stuff. Sent out a bunch of press releases. Trying to find new places. Dr. Zirconium has me looking for more places to send press releases to and try to see who people actually pay attention to. I tried to find.
I wasn't paying attention. What'd you say?
That's funny. I tried to find the contact information for alliance-wrestling.com on their website, but it's not available anywhere. how to
Well,
send results and stuff. It's not available on their website. Like you can't send emails or nothing. Every time I try to click Jay's name, it just brings me to all his articles. That wants me to read them.
ugh, that would be terrible.
That's actually very common, though. It's real hard to actually find where to send releases and stuff too for a lot of these sites because I don't really think they care about the small independent stuff. But I'm still trying to get the word out there. So I found a bunch of them, and I sent stuff, but it's a lot more difficult than it sounds.
Well, when someone returns from their overlong vacation, I guess we'll have to slap them around about not having contact us.
Yes, you would think that would be common nowadays.
You would think. But we are talking about Jay, so.
And it's not just him, too. It's a lot of people, surprisingly. Like, I try to find a lot of the contact information to send, to many different websites. Even David the Observer was difficult to find. And you figure he loves to talk about himself. Loves people to message him.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Apparently I have to yawn. Apparently that's what's going on here. I see Rick's trying to get back on, but it says he doesn't have anything connected. Oh, there he goes.
We're connected. Do, 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 do. So let's get power up. How bad was it?
How bad was it? It was pretty bad. Last time I checked, even on Discord, had a pretty low score. So I haven't checked recently. But
all right, let's get started. What was the first match?
The first match? You want us to talk about matches on Power?
Just to get it done and over with. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid.
Yeah, well, the first match, I bet you can guess. Well, first of all, let's talk about the fact that it ended up on YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
And on X?
Eventually, I guess. They made it sound like it was going to be a dual broadcast for it. But I think the reality was that they were having problems getting loaded on X. So they end up loading it on YouTube as well.
Hey, NWA, I heard Pornhub pays really well to upload, so maybe you should do that.
Well, that's an option.
Give you an excuse to book more Markova and some of the other ladies.
It's kind of like, kind of as bad as some porn. Let's see. The Alliance Blog Discord poll has 2 Bs, 3 Cs, 5 Ds, and 3 Fs.
I know a girl who had 3 Fs.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later. Which was kind of interesting for me because they normally rate pretty high on that one, and this week it is not rated that high. It doesn't even have an A, and there's almost always somebody who gives it an A. So that tells you how under it was as a episode.
So what happened? Let's talk about these wonderful skits and these awesome matches.
Do we have to?
I just want to get done and over with because that's what people want to hear about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the skits, but like the first match was the Country Gentleman, KC and AJ Casana, as they took on, was it Size Matters, which is Sam Stackhouse and Eric Smalls.
Oh, come on.
So,
wait,
yeah,
real quick, the AJ Kazana, with some actual potential to be a singles star, has to be out there with a guy shorter than Billy Corgan's penis.
Yes. And it was, Look, it was exactly what you thought it would be. There was not really much positive to say about it. It certainly just was bad. It was a bad match, and ended when Smalls, at one point when Smalls was the legal man, and after some four-way action of everybody being in the ring, it ended with the two legal men who were AJ, Cassana, and Smalls, and Cassana did, the running power slam or stampede or whatever. I can't remember what it's called on his side. And it just, wow, he pinned a little dude. Big shock. So
back at WrestleMania 3, I love when King Kong Bundy dropped the elbow on Little Beaver. But Little Beaver wasn't. It was a mixed tag match, so technically I guess he was a part, but at least it was normal size, or because above normal size wrestler and midget, and another above normal size wrestler and midget in a match. This is just something that's it's disrespectful to the NWA name. It's disrespectful to Harley Race. It's disrespectful to Ric Flair. It's disrespectful to Dusty Rhodes. It's disrespectful to anybody who's held that 10 pounds of gold, anybody who's been a champion in the NWA, anybody who's ever wrestled for the classic NWA, even the NWA that people call the Dark Times. Is disrespectful to them. So that should tell you something.
Yeah, I should tell you a lot. Primarily that it's not any damn good. That's what it should tell you. And, and of course, Billy did his best to say, oh, Eric Smalls, he's just like Rolando. He wants to be in the ring. Well, I want $1 billion. I don't see anybody coming to give me that.
When was the last time you seen a midget play for the NFL or for the NBA? I guarantee if he was on ice skates in the NHL, he'd probably be sliced in quarters since he's already in half.
Very, very good. Yeah, and I just don't know. I don't understand. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they do it.
Because it tickles Billy.
I guess, but I mean, I don't even see how it tickles him. I was like, I don't understand what he sees in it.
Smalls probably walks underneath his testicles and it kind of tickles. That's how it tickles him.
That might be it. And so,
all right. So what's next?
Oh, let's see. The next actual match that took place, which was about the only good thing that was on the show. Oh, by the way, that was almost an 8-minute match. It was the longest match on the show.
Okay.
And so they have the next match is Mims versus Mike Mondo to defend the national championship. Now, this I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would enjoy too.
It wasn't very long, and of course, it kind of ended in a little bit of a screw job ending because Mims is a heel and everything. But again, though, it was a heel versus heel dynamic, which Billy loves, but wrestling fans don't in particular. And so, hey, Rick, are you there? Can you hear us? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm back. All right, so I'm up and running. You sound beautiful now. So,
yay! Hi, Rick.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Not too much. Make sure you go on the poll and say with wrestling websites you like to go to on the Discord.
Okay, I will definitely take care of that.
Dog's trying to find some more places to promote.
Well, I got one. You could always send your information over to me as well. So.
Awesome. Please send me the link so I will do so. It's fun. Actually, send me the contact information because a lot of wrestling websites out there, very few of them actually have places like an email that it can be sent through.
Everything goes through me. I run my own site, prowrestlingwire.net. So we kind of had a lackadaisical week as far as because we're shifting gears with a lot of things, but everything can be sent to me. So I do a lot of the stuff myself, and I have a very small team. So,
like Eric Smalls?
Not that entertaining, I guess.
Okay. So, Rick,
Yes,
you,
sir.
you tried to escape it, but you joined back too soon. Give us your thoughts on the Country Gentleman versus Size Matters with Eric Smalls. Eric Smalls takes the pinfall after getting stampeded or running power slammed or whatever they call the move anymore.
Did they put Eric Smalls in this match because they couldn't logically take down Stackhouse? Like, seriously? Between like guys like AJ Kazana and his brother. I think the Country Gentlemen are great. They're one of the best tag teams in the NWA currently. This match was absolutely 100% ridiculous, though. It just wasn't entertaining. I mean, I guess it was supposed to be entertaining. And once again, Billy sucked on this match yet again. I could not tolerate him. And while I was trying to get back online, I heard y'all talking about the Rolando reference and stuff like that. It's just like, there's no. I think he
We look
tries
like
to cut.
Rolando.
I mean, he was entertaining in the beginning, but then it kind of just fizzled out real fast. But the Billy tries to be witty and funny when he's on commentary, and to me, it just doesn't work. And he just kind of, I think he's just doing this for his self-enjoyment. And if that's the case, he just has terrible, terrible taste in professional wrestling.
Well, we already established that, and
Yeah.
it's his own masturbatory enjoyment.
Yes.
Is why he enjoys it. Is what it
Yes.
is for him. Why
Yeah.
we have to say it.
Yeah, to have this stuff in your backyard, you know what I mean? I don't want to see it on my TV. And I struggle through watching the NWA each and every week because I honestly care about those three letters. It's my, through the entire history of my enjoyment of professional wrestling, I've always been a huge NWA fan, no matter how big or small they've been through the 90s and earlier 2000s and TNA era and all that stuff. It's just Lightning One era started off with this big bang, and now it's in the gutter, literally, and it's just kind of struggling, and it just doesn't. A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense to me.
You're 100% right. And this Big Bangs have a Big Bang. I think Billy should blow it up, and somebody else should start.
Somebody needs to buy that name from him once again, and just start over. Seriously.
Very much.
So we're now talking about Mondo and Mims, and DK says it was actually a pretty good match. What do you think?
I enjoyed this. To me, was probably the best thing on the show, and I think that out of the two shows last week we talked about, it's like there's been one segment out of the show, or one match rather, I should say, not segments, but out of each show that I thoroughly enjoyed. Last week was the Colby Carino match, and this week was the Mike Mondo and who the hell? Mims match.
Mims.
And I really like Mims a lot. Mike Mondo is obviously, very well known, but this was quite enjoyable, I thought, with the screw job finish. It's like every great match that they have has to have, it's leading to this really great moment, and then it just has this really shitty screw job ending at every good match that they have on TV.
A lot of people don't realize it's psychological. A booker often thinks he needs to earn his booking credentials by having a bunch of stupid finishes and crazy matches and overbook everything. And when it comes to pro wrestling, unless you are very extremely creative and actually productive in wrestling, there's a golden rule, and it's called keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
Somebody needs to teach Billy Corgan that Kiss is way better than the Smashing Pumpkins. And I like the fact that DK was drinking some bricks just a few seconds ago.
Yes. Well, one thing that I want to get your opinion on before we started talking about the other stuff, Rick, is what do you think about the fact that it ended up on YouTube because they were having some technical difficulties with X?
Did you see what was it last week that we discussed? They left YouTube because they didn't like the payment plan when we were talking about them bouncing all over the place with their TV. However, they're having technical difficulties with X, which I'm not quite sure how they're having technical difficulties. So they brought it over to, and they made this big deal in the post that they made that they're bringing it up where they originated from, back to YouTube. And I just I don't know. I'd prefer it to be on YouTube each and every week, personally, because it's easy. I think there was only once that there was ever an issue in the past, but it just makes the most sense to me.
I think it should be on both. In fact, it should be on Twitch.
Sure.
It should be on
Why
everywhere
not?
right now. Get as
Absolutely.
many eyeballs as possible, because I know people that will watch it in multiple places just because. Also, the reason I think X had an issue is there was apparently an attack on the servers.
Gotcha. Trying
So
to
I
put
know
it
I had trouble
on.
around the same time just getting on X. So yeah.
Trying to. Well, yeah, there was an issue I think earlier in the week because I had some connection issues.
Look,
with
there's
it.
no proof that I was trying to keep the show from going on air.
DK, I wish you had that ability, because I would freelance you.
There's just so much. There's so many platforms out there that they could post this basically at free cost, pretty much for the most part, and just get ad revenue from whether it be Twitch, YouTube. I don't know if they're taking in. Is there any money involved in X as far as like gaining any money? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
that's what the little
There
check
is?
marks for.
Got you. Okay, so I mean, there's so many platforms that they could get that show onto, and yet they're not utilizing them at all, and they're just continuing, supposedly trying to get on regular television. It's been what, 5 years now, 4 years since the power's been in existence, and they haven't been able to. It's time to try the best you can to do whatever you can to with the platforms out there.
Yeah, and that's true. And if you gave them a product worth putting on television, maybe there's a chance you would get on television. But
Yeah,
right
nobody.
now, like you say, if Dog had a TV show, I must say TV event, and it almost screwed me up there, a television program, I would be on Vimeo, it would be on Facebook, it would be on X, it would be on YouTube, it would be on Twitch, it would be on. Can you put it on Blue Sky? I don't know. I'd be on Reddit.
And I'm
I
not
can
sure.
figure out
Yeah,
how to do that.
yeah, it'd be everywhere. There's all sorts of platforms out there, and they should just utilize every single one of them because it would make the most sense. It'd probably make a killing at doing all this. And no television company is going to want a television show recorded in a studio with like 30 people sitting around. And those days are gone. I hate to say it. Syndicated TV is gone. It's unfortunate, but no, in the modern era, that's not a thing. So they need to make them present themselves as a bigger prospect for that. I mean, they're doing pretty good. The size of the building that they're in for the shockwave taping seems pretty decent, right?
Yeah, DK's been there. It seems pretty nice, right, DK?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice place. I don't have any issues with it, but it's one. I wish they wouldn't turn it into 5 episodes because then it's just so long and drawn out. And then again, of course, Danny Deals and whatever her name is are still showing ads that are.
That's Alyssa Marino, right? I think what's her name is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could not honestly say. They're still doing ads with the background that says CW on it, and it's like you would think at some point they would, yank that and stop that from taking place. But we'll go back and cover the skits. But let's go ahead. Well, let's go. Well, only because I have something really that I want to say about part of it. So let's go on. So we are supposed to have a world tag team title defense. And it's supposed to be Murdoch's, as we like to call them, versus the Slime Balls.
Oh, Lord.
But Trevor Murdoch's not there. And Rick, do you remember why Trevor Murdoch wasn't there? Because I think
they said it was because of the weather.
Yeah, there was no weather issues. I might have just been, I think by that point.
This was also recorded 3 months ago, so there could have been weather,
Yeah, I think I was crying into my hands at that point. And so Trevor Murdoch's not there. So we're having a non-title handicap match between Mike Knox and the Slime Boys. And it lasted exactly 53 seconds. And not only does it last exactly 53 seconds, but Knox just destroys them, which makes you wonder how the Slime Balls were ever contenders for the tag team titles. Because imagine if there had been 2 of them there. So Slime Ball's humiliated. Knox looks like a legend. And then as he's leaving, the barely conscious Slime Balls get on the microphone. And Rick, what do they do to the poor audience?
They make him watch him again.
Was it another 50-second squash? Because I actually probably would like that if it got squashed a couple times.
Let me check my notes here because I did take some notes. I believe it was the Slime Balls defeat Mike Knox this time around, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes.
And because of this, they earned 2 future title shots because they had a future title shot since they didn't get this one. And then they earned another future title shot. I think it was like a double or nothing, right?
It sounds like some Vince Russo stuff right here.
I don't remember exactly. Somebody out in the audience who paid closer attention than me at this time because I was crying. Remind me, was it double or nothing? Because I know that at the end they had earned 2 title shots. And so, yes, the second match went 2 minutes and 31 seconds. And out comes, the beloved Carson Drake to interfere and cost Mike Knox the match. So the slimy noses or whoever they are, slime balls, win, and they have 2 future title shots. Because after watching one champion destroy him in 53 seconds and then destroy them for the better part of 2 minutes, what I cannot wait for is to see a tag title match in which Billy may be dumb enough to actually change the titles. So I have lots of fear coming up. So, Rick, what were your thoughts on these 2 glorious matches?
I can't. First off, the slime balls are so annoying. The gimmick is so annoying. It reminds me of Nickelodeon in the early '90s, or some ridiculous stuff. I don't think they're entertaining by any stretch. In the fact that they're actually they've been there a while now. I think it's been well over a year that they've been in the NWA, and they're just not entertaining. To me, it's Billy must like them, or somebody must like them. There, the fans. I don't know. I'm not sure if the fans feel the same way, but they gotta. They're just nothing for me. You know what I mean?
Reddit loves them, and really? I don't get it. Yeah, Reddit, and I know other places like a lot of our forum and Discord loves them too for some reason, but Reddit absolutely loves. Not even NWA Reddit, like other Reddit loves the slime balls.
It's a good thing I'm not on Reddit. Like seriously,
No kidding.
I don't get it. They're not as horrible as everybody sees. Like everybody makes them think. Like I could see something where I could use them as like a comedy. Not goofy, stupid, like shitty comedy, but like the Mean Street Posse. That it'll be fun to watch them get their ass kicked in a little bit, or when PG-13 was with the Nation of Domination. It was kind of they even though they were talented, it was fun watching them get killed in the WWE for a while by guys much bigger than them. It's kind of like I enjoy Mulkey's getting killed by the Road Warriors, but I just don't see how there is so much love for these guys. Somebody, please educate me. What am I missing? See?
Willie agrees with us. So,
who's worse, Willie? Slime balls or Tyrus? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, slime ball. And but yeah, I think they have a place, and I think their place is to be an enhancement comedy tag team.
Sure, absolutely.
And, I think these are the guys that you bring in, some of your new tag teams that you're trying to get over against. And, you put them in the ring with the slime balls and they beat the slime balls like everybody beats the slime balls, like everybody beat the Mulkeys or, whatever. And maybe every now and then you give them a one-off fluke victory.
I wouldn't even mind if you gave them, like, if they beat other enhancement guys, like the guys that are even skinnier than they are, or skinnier than the one is, I should say.
Yeah, if they both look like Sage, then that could probably go over. Yeah, any team that Hunter Drake would be a part of. And they have a place, but in the main event of the tag team scene is not it. I mean, they shouldn't even be in the U.S. tag team scene, but
Maybe a territory or whatever you enhancement, working on the indies or something like that. But when you think of the NWA, you don't think of people like the Slime Balls or Eric Smalls or
No.
you know what I mean. You think of guys like Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, Harley Race, Ric Flair, the legends that help build the legendary status of the company. Pat O'Connor, you know what I mean. You don't think of Tyrus.
If anybody in our watching our channel is a necromancer, do me a favor, bring Lou Thesz back and introduce him to Billy Corgan.
Yes.
Danny Hodge, have Danny Hodge shake Billy Corgan's hand.
Ooh, that would be great.
Yes, and then maybe around his throat.
That would be better.
The thing is, he will make references to all these gentlemen during his commentary and stuff like that, and but he's not matching up what the legendary status of what the National Wrestling Alliance is, and with the supposed talent. I mean, I like a lot of the guys there. There's a lot of really great guys there. I think that what the hell's the guy's name? Thrillbilly, Silas is an amazing talent, and that guy could go forward and probably be the guy that carries that company, possibly to a mainstream, effect. It's just a lot of the people that he pushes and just uses. It's just they're not for television, in my personal opinion. Maybe as enhancement talent, maybe as gimmicky type stuff, but it looks like he's trying to do too much of the sports entertainment, the Vince McMahon, WWE type stuff, but on a way smaller level.
Here's the thing. People always say wrestling evolves. You know what? Wrestling didn't evolve. It mutated.
Yeah.
And now we have a bunch of mutants that call themselves pro wrestling and a bunch of promotions that are called toxic pro wrestling. That instead of actually, it's not evolution. It's backwards. It's the same thing of why we're having all the microplastic. Right now, this is Chernobyl. And what we're getting is a bunch of radioactive mutants and not anything good that resembles professional wrestling.
Or Godzilla.
I would deal with Godzilla. We're not getting Godzilla. We're getting Toxic Avenger.
Yeah. It's funny. Tony Khan was going to bring back sports-based wrestling, and one of I don't remember if it was Cody or who, but somebody brought up Mid-South, and Billy Corgan, he brought back all the old style belts and everything because he was going to put on old style, old school wrestling. But basically, all he knows is the TNA Dixie Carter era.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too, Bob. If you actually pay attention to Bob Luce is a wackadoodle. He wasn't Mushnick. He wasn't any classic NWA promoter. He was a goofball, and I think that's unfortunately. Here's what people don't realize is what you evolve with, what you surround yourself, what you watch in pro wrestling often dictates what you like in your style and what you would do as professional wrestling. And a lot of people grew up with Ultimate Warrior. A lot of people grew up with the Ding Dongs. A lot of people grew up with the garbage you're seeing now. And that's unfortunately what's creating the taste is somebody let some garbage out there because somebody didn't know what they were doing. And now that is what, to somebody, what professional wrestling is. I love Star Wars, and the original series, the original 4 was amazing. And there's some good parts about the prequels, but there's people that grew up on the prequels and they only saw Jar Jar Binks, and that's why we have the sequels. And there's people going to grow up with the sequels and think that's their Star Wars. And unfortunately, what Star Wars is good at is finding ways to take the garbage and making it better by other alternate media. But that's their Star Wars, and then the next level is going to be really bad. That's what we're dealing right now with the NWA. Yes, Lou, go shoot on Billy for us, okay? No, see, Boogie Woogie Man one time was a big major star. He was before you saw the very end of the Boogie Woogie Man. That's the thing. He was living purely off of name and reputation and charisma. Boogie Woogie Man was actually a serious star and a serious wrestler for a while. I mean, he was a little flashy and smoked too much pot, and it was evident, but he was a serious star. By the time you saw him in Jim Crockett Promotions when television was prominent, you saw the after effect. You saw the very, very tail end of the Boogie Woogie Man, and that's why he was doing what he was doing, because he was purely living off of his name and reputation, and again, his charisma. Right now, there is nobody that has something that even resembles the beginning of what Jimmy Valiant was, and to what now they're not even half as good as he was at his worst. Am I wrong?
No. I loved Jimmy Valiant growing up, though. I mean, I grew up watching him in Mid-Atlantic, and he was entertaining. Granted, was he a mid-carder, but he was over like crazy. The fans always went nuts when he came out.
Yeah, and he drew huge.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there was a lot more Rufus R. Freight Train Jones and Bob Browers and Bob Browns and those type of guys, the well past their prime, the Crusher and Baron von Raschke, where they were just so bad and so horrible to watch. And if you don't believe me, go watch Central Stage Wrestling, because most of them were there.
The Savoldi family just uploaded. They on their app. They bought the rights to a bunch of the television states, and they've been uploading it for the last few months. So they've been with a bunch of the old Central State stuff. It's amazing to sit down and watch. I've been a subscriber to the Savoldi Ultimate Classic Network that the Savoldi family put together since the day it went live, and I've been a subscriber. I'm still a subscriber, and some of the content on there is amazing, including some of my old interviews that I've done with the Savoldi era talent. So.
And make sure you get some
Cheap plug.
screenshots on next time.
Yeah,
cheap plug.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
get us some screenshots of that. I'd love to see it.
Absolutely.
Some videos.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see my interview with Mario Savoldi up there. That's a good hour and a half conversation. Learn about his life in the world of professional wrestling.
DK, were you a Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant fan, or a Handsome Jimmy Valiant fan, or part of the Valiant Brothers?
I'm too young to know Handsome Jimmy.
He's not too young to know. He's actually older than us.
Yeah.
He's a good 25, 30, 60 years older than us.
Watch it. 57. Boogie Woogie was the first version of Jimmy Valiant I knew, but I did go back and see some of the Handsome Jimmy Valiant. Now, handsome Jimmy Valiant in Memphis was man, that was a star right there. But Boogie Woogie, he was kind of the poor man Dusty Rhodes, except for
he was first.
And he could go out there and he'd go out there and do some stuff and not make any sense. I mean, he could just put words together, word salad, and not make any sense, and the fans would go crazy for him.
Yes.
And so it's just a thing. I hate to do this to y'all, but I have to make a quick phone call.
Okay.
And
we'll talk more about the NWA and stuff.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll let Rick tell you about the skits this week.
Honestly, I don't pay attention to them. I don't pay attention to them. I can't. The skits that are happening on NWA TV, the in between stuff, the segments. I do think the what the hell's the guy's name? Damian Sandow. What's his name now?
Aaron Stevens.
Aaron Stevens. Yes, thank you. That one was quite entertaining. I think anything that Aaron Stevens does really speaks volumes. He could do he's comedy gold, or he could be serious and very entertaining in that way as a threatening manager type. Everything else with the Brian Idol and Markova, is that her name? That was not entertaining. I just kind of skipped over this. I kind of spaced out anytime the skits came on. Honestly.
I don't blame you.
Seriously.
Was there any more matches?
No, that's literally, there was 3 matches. The show was 39 minutes long, which we don't even get a full hour. You know what I mean? They're not inserting any kind of commercials or any of that kind of stuff. They're, back in the day when they first started, they had like, the NWA belt ads that they were running, or the mock ads with like Tony Falk and stuff like that to try to make it a more lengthy episode. Now it's just, they're not even caring. They're just doing 39, 42-minute shows, and it goes by too quick for a show that's, to me, supposed to be, it's the NWA. It's supposed to be the highlight of the week.
Maybe the NAFTA or something actually got involved, or maybe the Geneva Convention was probably more accurate, because it is considered torture, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'm waiting for Trump to make an executive order to make Billy Corgan and the NWA the national promotion of professional wrestling everybody has to watch.
I would not be surprised. Are we allowed to talk about the politics here? I don't want to talk politics.
That was more being humorous, but
I know. I'll end up very evil to some.
Well, I'm always evil. That's part of my charm.
Yeah.
All right. So I actually recently posted to Discord. There was a wrestling company that ran an event, and it had a lot of big time stars on there. And one of the match was actually Carson Drake versus the real one, formerly known as Enzo Amore.
Okay.
It was for the NWA TV title, which I found interesting because it wasn't part of NWA television. But it was probably the most entertained I was in a Carson Drake match. I mean, Carson Drake. But I would 100% give Enzo credit. I knew DK would have absolutely hated it. But I think right now, Enzo probably would shine in the current NWA and would look so much better compared to what Billy does, that people who hated him might like him just because he's better than everything else by default. The whole, I used to think you're an idiot, but I met so many worse idiots, you moved up, theory.
Yes. Yes.
But I think he would be somebody the NWA should think about. I know Dr. Zirconium. I've met him at Dog event, and he was pretty easy. Not was entertaining. The fans absolutely loved him. And unlike the slime balls, there is a lot more, in my opinion, benefit to an Enzo. And I thought that was interesting. Did you watch that? I think I sent you guys that wrestling event where Enzo took on Carson Drake. Did you see that, DK?
If you've sent it, I've not seen it yet.
Okay. It's also on the Discord too, like I said. And it was interesting to see a non NWA card have an NWA match, and it was up there much, much faster than anything the NWA's put up recently.
I had the opportunity to see Enzo over the summer. He did a Gino Caruso show here in Connecticut, ECPW. And I thought he was entertaining, and the fans were eating it up. They loved him. They loved him. So I think there is some quality with bringing in someone like Enzo into the NWA. I mean, granted, we might not all be fans. I had a chance to sit and talk to him, and he come off way more pleasant than anything you'd heard about on social media or wrestling chats, years prior during his time in WWE, and you know what I mean. And then, so he was a really cool dude, honestly. But I think that there is some marketability if they bring him in, because I think he does still have a little shine, and he could add something to the NWA, to the current NWA.
I've always said it, and I know DK rolls over in his bed every time I do it, but there's money to be made with Enzo if somebody knew how to do it.
Absolutely. And, I wasn't the biggest fan during his time with WWE. Then I saw him on a YouTube video with like he did something with a handicapped child, which just like, and he, then I heard him on Busted Open, and he just came off as actually one of the most down to earth, coolest human beings, in professional wrestling, not like all the stories you heard through social media and the wrestling chatter that about him acting like such a moron backstage and stuff like that. He just sounded like an actual down to earth human being.
And sometimes people just have a natural personality that can rub some people the wrong way.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then they take it as something more than it really is. And some people just like I have had this issue myself where I said something first and didn't put any thought behind it, and people get pissed off about it. I naturally get heat without trying, so I can, and I'm so much better at it than when I try, but still, I can naturally get heat without trying.
Right.
And so I understand that sometimes that happens when you say what you're thinking, and it's not exactly what people want to hear.
Yeah, I have a thing for just saying too much or talking, you know, saying the
Yeah.
wrong thing, and then it's just like, why did you say that? Like afterwards, you know. So,
I remember
so
I was at a wrestling event, and a couple of kids asked me how I thought of the match. I'm like, oh, it was the drizzling shits.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of heartbroken, but
When people ask me about their matches and they want to know, it's like if their opponent's absolute shit, and I'm saying, he carried you very well, and for anybody that's watching and knows me, I'm sorry, you just found out. Um, you know that I try not to break it down to in front of their opponent, that because if it's somebody I think that has a lot of potential, but I think I feel kind of honored in a way that people will come to me and trust my opinion on asking me what they thought the match was if they're 3, 4, 5 matches in or been wrestling under a year. So it's kind of interesting that they'll think of somebody on that level that they trust their opinion.
and you know what? Sometimes wrestlers book or wrestling providers have to book a wrestler as the drizzling shits. I mean, Dog books Daredevil Dave Dahl. So it does happen. Some people just like
Yeah.
to see people like that get beat up, though.
And sometimes there's marketability in some of these people that are not necessarily great wrestlers, and that's why you have to bring them in, because they will bring people in. I mean, I could tell you, and I'm not going to mention any names, the shows that I've worked on, some of the wrestlers, they might not be the greatest, but they brought in 30, 40 people because their mom, their aunt, their uncle, everybody's coming in to see them. And that's 30 or 40 tickets that you didn't sell prior if they weren't on the show. So that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I know a lot of wrestling companies around here like to do that. I know Doctor Zakarian tries not to do that. He only books Daredevil Dave Dahl because people actually want. He doesn't have any friends, so it's not his friends and family that come see him. It's actually people that like to see him see in the ring or want to see him get hurt. So that's why I think he
Yeesh.
does that.
Willie Bowen says slime balls reminds me of stupidity. I don't know if they get that much credit. Stupidity may be way up there compared to the slime balls. Maybe.
Um, I know you're a little out of the way, but I hope one day to hope you come down and see a dog event. I
Like
know we.
I'm
Get. I'm
sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say we do have one coming up just next week. Actually, I won't be on this broadcast next week because I'll be helping Dr. Zirconium with the Rowan event on the 17th of April. I mean, there's a lot of great wrestlers there. There's Donovan Dijak's going to be there. He's taking on David Goldie. The War Devils at Daredevil Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh will defend the Dog Tag Team Championship against Silver Lobo and the Conquistador. We'll also see Connors, the Flag Boys, bringing in Tyson Maddox to take on Wrecking Ball Legursky. And I know Tyson is there because Connor's hurt, but I believe as part of the stipulation, if Wrecking Ball beats Tyson, he still gets 5 minutes in the ring with Connor. So even though he's hurt, hopefully we get to see Wrecking Ball from the NWA destroy, or at least somehow get through Tyson so he can destroy Connor the Flag Boy, because he's also hated, and it's purely by association. He's Dave Dahl's Flag Boy, so yeah.
You sound like you're miles away now. All of a sudden.
Is it the robot thing? C3PO
Yeah.
human cyber relation. All right, I'll be right back. Hopefully,
Yep.
keep talking, and hopefully somebody can get me back in. DK, just let you know, you got to get me back in a minute.
I don't know where DK is. Now I'm being left here by myself. Anybody got anything to say? Questions? Okay. Okay.
Yay! Can you hear me now?
I could hear you.
No C-3PO. Human cyborg relations. I even tried. I thought maybe it's because I was using the website,
Right.
and so I started using the actual app for this, and apparently it doesn't help. So never mind.
Right. Yeah. No, I can't use my computer. My computer does not work using this StreamYard, but so I use my phone because every time I used to use it, my stuff would just freeze.
I actually still always use the phone, but there was a website that I would just click on to from the link. I didn't download the
Yeah.
StreamYard app, and I just
Yeah.
did, thinking maybe it'll fix it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the NWA TV title be defended anywhere other than NWA TV is kind of stupid, Lou. I don't mind if
Yeah.
it's on the territories, or I don't even care if it's on somebody else's television program, but it has to be TV. If it's a TV title, it should be on some kind of TV, even the internet TV.
The TV title, I mean, I guess that like all their titles are defended everywhere, and especially in the territories. I don't mind it being, because all those territories eventually make their way in one form or another to power, whether it's Joe Kazana or what's the other one?
There's a whole bunch of them. There's
Yeah,
the
now
Page sisters,
Texas. Yeah.
a couple in Texas. There's one in Oklahoma now, I think.
Yep.
Utah, maybe.
Yep.
And there's a minor affiliate in the New York, New Jersey area.
That's Outlaw Wrestling, correct? Is that
I think
what it's?
so, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's a little too far from my. Because I was gonna go because I figured it's what is it, Queens, I believe it is. Queens is generally an hour for me, but I think that like where they run, it's like well over 2 hours for me to get there from where I am. So
Getting to Queens probably takes you the hour. Probably the other hour is just getting to the building. I've been
yeah,
around that area, so I very much
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I don't like New York very much.
I try to go there as little as possible now. I used to go to shows there, concerts there all the time, wrestling there all the time. We used to go to ECW, Ring of Honor there all the time. But nowadays, it's just I very selective as to what I go to the city for, and it's like it's been forever.
Last time I went to New York for wrestling was for a Valkyrie event. And it was kind of part of the company, so I had to.
Wow. Oh, you
Yeah.
were, yeah. How long were
So
you part of the company for?
for Valkyrie,
Yeah.
it's entirely wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I only missed one. I was protest because I was somebody that I didn't believe belonged on a woman wrestling event who had a bad reputation of being a piece of shit. And he ended up not showing up anyway. So I guess it was all for naught.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but if your Valkyrie was the first ever all women's promotion in New York City.
I don't seem to remember that for some reason. I don't know.
It was very good. Check it out. Some of the stuff was really good. I mean, Casey Carlisle was the initial Valkyrie champion, and they had La Rosa Negra. They had Sumi Sakai. They had Mia Yim and Kimberly, and they had a lot of the top women wrestlers out there. Deanna Peraza was early into that early in her
So she
career.
worked. Yeah, I didn't work with her, but I know she's worked for one of the companies I worked for a lot in the past. Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, run by Mario Mancini and Paul Roma. So she worked a lot there. She was their women's champ for
Yeah,
really early on at Paradise.
very talented.
Yeah.
I know some people didn't have a high opinion of her when she was around here, but I always saw she was a kitten with big paws, and she grew into what a very talented wrestler. And it's a shame she's not being used seriously in other companies, but maybe one day she'll show up somewhere and be used properly.
Yeah. I mean, she seems to bounce. Not at her fault, but it seems like nobody does know how to use her properly, and she bounces. She was in TNA for a while. I mean, she's in AEW now, correct?
Yeah, and she
Yeah,
she thrived in, I think, in TNA.
yeah.
You
I
know,
thought that was her best. Her best was in AEW. I haven't. I don't watch it. I mean TNA. Excuse me. I don't watch AEW really on occasion. So, um, it's very rare that I actually turn AEW on.
Yeah, I just sometimes will watch some highlights if something catches my eye.
Yeah,
I think the
it's not
last
to
thing I
say.
really
I'm sorry. It's not to say that I dislike them because I'm not going to go on that rant like some do. It's just it's not my flavor. So
see, I don't like the flavor of chocolate and tuna fish. And that's what kind of AEW is to me.
yeah,
But
I get you.
yeah, what do you think about Hammerstone going back to MLW?
I find it interesting. Not really surprised. I'm really surprised that he left TNA, but I thought that he would go to. I thought he'd be picked up by the E or AEW. Um, I'd really like to see him probably go to WWE. I think that he would fit in well there for his size and the style that he works. No,
No, I think he would do well in NXT. I don't think he'll do well in the WWE part. I think he'll do well in the NXT part.
right?
And I'm surprised he isn't. I know Booker T, who's so popular right now, we'll ignore that, but he is pushing for him to get into the WWE.
Right.
And by the way, Booker T, stay away from promoters in Florida, and stay away from comments about other people's experiences. But yeah, I really think Hammerstone. I almost kind of hope that Billy Corgan gets smart and brings him in the NWA because it is insane that both Holiday and uh, Hammerstone aren't somewhere bigger.
I don't get that honestly. Why, especially Holiday? I've witnessed Holiday many times through Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Um, and he is he should be on TV each and every week, and for a bigger company, whether it be AEW or WWE. I know he's been around for quite some time, but he just has the look, and he could be working. So one of those on a regular basis.
Even if he couldn't, like he's not in AEW, not getting forgotten about in AEW and not in NXT or WWE. Why isn't somewhere like why isn't he on TNA? Why isn't he on even the NWA? He's not even in MLW right now. That's what I don't understand. And then
No,
really the NWA is especially weird because he's obviously got a connection with EC3
yeah,
and he would be very good in the NWA television. It would be somewhere at least that somebody could spotlight him so he can be seen, even if it is like the witness protection program with the NWA right now. Um, he would be seen, and maybe somebody could see what he has. He
yeah.
needs a television outlet. He does Game Changer, and I know the fans there love it, but that doesn't seem to
I don't think that
translate.
really. I mean, Game Changer's not a style that he's going to be working like. They work various different styles, but I don't think that's necessarily for him. I guess they might have a good payday. I don't know. But there's a lot of talent that goes there that does like one-offs here and there. You know what I mean? And he's one of those guys. He'll run a certain amount of dates, but he's also working for, I believe he's working for Fight Life, if I remember correctly. Which is, I think they're based out of Rhode Island, which is really great promotion, by the way. They run on Triller, I think, a couple times a month. They run here at one of the breweries, kind of look close to where I live. But I think he's working with the Now at their Awesome Championship Wrestling, but they've only run 2 shows, and he's holding that title. He defeated Wrecking Ball in the Battle Royal final for that belt.
Do you know if wrestlers like Wrecking Ball and other wrestlers that work with the NWA can do small television, local television?
I mean, that's a good
I,
question.
I know they do like a lot of the stuff on YouTube
Yeah,
and that stuff, but what if like somebody had local television at say Dog had local television in
yeah.
Philadelphia?
I'm sure that he would be able to, make an appearance because I don't. I mean, I don't think that anybody. I mean, anybody's not really a threat to anybody. You know what I mean? But I don't think anybody's also like biggest enemy of the NWA is everybody else, really, because I think that anybody could just swoop up and just snag their talent. You know what I mean? So I believe that their talent could just wrestle anywhere. From what I know, even though they went through like a bunch of exclusive contract announcements earlier this year, late last year, which I'm
Late
just
last year,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, late last year. But none of these guys, like, they're also working elsewhere because the NWA doesn't run enough shows for these guys to get paid to hold us down as a full time job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, whether they get to go and work for like a smaller independent, no offense, like such as Dog or some local guy that's running television, I'm sure that it's can't really be an issue because how many of these, like most of these places running on, say, YouTube, you know what I mean, running like a weekly YouTube series or small public access or local TV. Not that really public access is much of a thing these days, but it's still sort of there and floats.
Yeah, like if Use Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, I guess, is a good example of this
Well,
one.
I've seen Holiday on there a couple times, but I mean, you know,
And Hammerstone too. But
yeah, and I
that's
think,
MLW.
yeah, yeah, that's MLW. So yeah, I think both of them were working for MLW at the time, and Marquez has a lot of connections everywhere. You know what I mean? He's brought in. I think this most recent show, didn't he just run a TV taping like a week or two ago? It was the first one back
Yeah.
since their hiatus, and the card was stacked because he had a lot of WWE ID guys on there and stuff like that. And I believe Hammerstone might have been on that as well. I could be wrong, but he had a lot of bigger names on there. Even some of the lower tiered AEW guys that are not making TV each and every week because AEW probably has 300 people on the roster. They can't fit everybody on.
Yeah, and interesting to see if, like, I mean, Big Bad Mama worked for them.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested if, like, say, if there's heat with Marquez, and maybe I can understand maybe if he doesn't have the NWA guys, but anybody else, I'd be interested to know. I have to find that out
Yeah.
because it'd be nice to have some talented wrestlers. Say if Dog does, again, I'm just using Dog as an example. Dog had a station on a TV program. We do programs, we don't do shows. Uh, um, TV program on a local station, and to see like maybe if Wrecking Ball Gursky or Spencer Slade, some of the guys around here locally would be able to be part of it.
Yeah, I know
Interesting.
some of these guys are like they've worked for Northeast Wrestling. I'm sure you're familiar with Northeast
Yeah.
Wrestling. And they don't do TV, but they do streaming. They go right to, I think they're on Amazon Prime now. But that's where they put their shows. I know they bounced from a couple different places since the original High Spots network folded, and High Spots hasn't put that new one, they haven't uploaded. The original High Spots network had everything up there. They had like you couldn't imagine the promotions and interviews and all the stuff that they had up there. But then they switched over. They closed it down because that company was the same one that ran. They ran another streaming network, which was just kind of failed. And then they just closed up shops. And then High Spots opened up another streaming service, two different streaming services. None of that footage made it over. So there was a lot of rare gems like Eddie Mansfield IWF from the 90s and stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool stuff up there but it's just like, so I don't know if like the streaming counts as well. Like, can these guys go on there? It's Northeast, Wrecking Ball's working for NWA, and he's like a big part of Northeast. He's on every Northeast show basically. Would that affect it as well?
I don't know. Like it's always semantics because technically, by all logistics, internet streaming is not television.
Yeah,
streaming is its own form of media.
that's the wave of the future, really. I mean, you got to say it's not cable and television is not completely gone, but shortly in the future, like everybody's moving to streaming, whether it be YouTube or Netflix or what have you, whatever streaming app. A lot of television companies are going into streaming their own, possibly streaming app. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there was a company that owned a bunch of smaller television taping stations that was talking about going instead of off of television onto 5G. Broadcast 5G, so every phone, every tablet, whether it had, that was phone ready, would be able to just watch it live. So that's interesting, in my opinion. If that's going to be the future of broadcasting, is now we'll have 5G TVs, so you can watch live broadcast of everything right through 5G.
You're right.
And
That's
no, it
interesting.
doesn't cause coronavirus.
That's very interesting, though. I mean, seriously, it's just wild because it's like it's changing rapidly, and it's like a cable's like a dead medium. Like you watch any cable, like late night TV, it's like the same. They run the same thing over and over. You know what I mean? It's just um, how much like TV Land episodes of like Everybody Loves Raymond can you watch in one evening? You start watching the same, So it's just like a lot of these television networks are forming their own things that you can watch all this exclusive stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like it's just rapidly changing. I think it's going to become a smaller market in a way, but while at the same time becoming bigger, that people are going to be able to individualize themselves.
I actually wonder now, like, what's still holding TV together? Is it the unwillingness is it an older demographic why TV's
Older
still
people,
around?
older people,
Is
yeah,
it? So
yeah.
when they start thinning out that herd, you're going to see less and less. Because I know, like, why isn't somebody simulcasting 5G with the regular television signal?
Yeah, we still have cable here. I don't ever watch cable. My wife is the only one in the house that actually watches cable. She watches certain shows. I usually watch everything through streaming apps, or I don't even watch regular TV. It's usually pro wrestling and baseball. You know what I mean? Or documentaries or movies. I don't watch like regular television. It's very rare that I'll sit down and watch regular television. Jeopardy is another show that I watch, but so it's like I don't really need cable because I can watch all that stuff through my Roku, and I'm a huge Roku supporter and lover. I love my Roku. I actually have one that I bought, so when I go on vacation, I can hook it up in the hotel, just exclusively for that kind of stuff. Because there's just so much importance to that. I think all of
And
it.
that's what I know. Like I said, DK is right. The streaming isn't the all be all right now.
Not right now, but I
And
think in the
probably by the time
future,
it
yeah,
becomes the all be all, there'll be something new that comes out that'll take its place.
yeah. I mean, I know like my buddy Mike Bull Dread wrestler from the area, his parents were quite upset because they sit there and watch cable all day. You know what I mean? They're older, and they had a fit when Raw went to Netflix, and they don't stream stuff. They don't know how to stream stuff. And the first question that they asked him, because he has to go over there and help them with their TV all the time, what channel is Netflix on?
Yeah.
So they didn't get that it's like it's an app you have to download. It's a demographic, like those are the people that are keeping cable alive, is the much older people. Give it 10 years, it's going to be a very smaller demographic that's keeping cable going. You know what I mean? And cable might be gone in the next 10 years. I mean, I don't, besides cable internet, it's just I don't think cable TV 10-15 years it'll be kind of wiped out altogether, I think.
We even have the capability nowadays. It's just not financially feasible to make cable internet go away because it could purely be right through like
I
what
use
is it?
Xfinity. I have Xfinity cable, which is part of Comcast. I have
Yeah,
that app. You know what I mean? I have it on my phone. I have it on. They do a streaming. Every channel they get on my cable and Xfinity, I have on that app. I just
yeah.
scroll through the guide, and that's it. I'm sure there's other cable companies out there that do that. James here has a question. I'd like to. Maybe I can read this off. So, would you consider YouTube TV cable or streaming? Streaming is just the way you receive the cable channels over the internet these days, of cable wires needing to be set up.
Oh yeah, it's definitely streaming, but we're capable now where, like I said, the cable part of the cable internet is soon obsolete. The only
Yeah,
reason it's not is because, again, financial reasons. I
right.
believe it's South Korea where they're on 7G right now, aren't they? They're way past
Holy
what we are
crap.
currently doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, at that same thing, it's like, I would not consider that necessarily cable, YouTube TV, because you watch stuff, all the ratings is there's cable numbers and then there's streaming numbers, and the streaming numbers are way harder to read than the cable numbers, from what I understand, listening to guys like Meltzer and stuff like that. It's just way harder to read, to gauge, or it takes longer to gauge how many people actually watch a program, because honestly, a lot of the streaming stuff you can go back and it's on demand, like right, all that stuff. So they could be watching it days and days after, so it's harder to read.
Yeah, and also with streaming, it's more of how much is actually being watched too. you could go through an entire program, or you could click on a program. Doesn't mean you watched it. If
Yes,
you watch
exactly.
10 minutes of it or 2 hours of it.
It registers as being watched. Once you click on it, it'll, you watch it. It'll say you watched it when you go back to it. So, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But a lot of these streaming services are actually looking at how many minutes watched. I got some information back from YouTube about how they're changing even shorts.
Right.
And it's not just the clicking of the short, it's how much of that short's being watched and how that short leads to another short and what that goes to, and to continue how long. There's things now. It's how important is how long somebody's staying on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. My other thing with YouTube, it's like I notice when I create shorts, things are about a minute, nobody watches. If I make a 10 to 20-second clip, I can get instantly 500 views in the matter of a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It's just people don't want to watch stuff that's even a minute these days. It's kind of wild that they will sit there for 10 or 20 seconds to watch somebody do some impressive maneuver, but they're not going to sit there and watch, a good promo. I recently cut out a clip from Dusty Rhodes telling Ric Flair, you can kiss his ass, whatever. And it literally was like a 5-second. I got over 70,000 views on my TikTok within 24 hours. I just thought that was freaking insane that I just clipped some Dusty Rhodes thing right there, and that was it. So it's just wild how things like that happen. And then it's like I can put something else up that's probably 35 seconds and it won't get 200 views.
It's also interesting as when you put it up there determines a lot if it gets viewed at all.
Yeah.
I've on the dog YouTube page, I've deleted and put something up at a different time, and all of a sudden tripled its views.
That's insane because I try to figure stuff like that out because sometimes I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I won't get any views. But then I notice I'll put something else up a little bit later, completely unrelated, and I'll get 1 million views. Not 1 million, but you know what I mean? A lot of views. So.
And it does determine what your particular audience likes. Like I know for some reason the wrestling audience, Monday night seems to be my most fruitful time. So if I'm putting something on there that I really care about, I put it on Monday night.
Right.
And shorts seem to work better for me after midnight, while the videos themselves seem to work more with me around 7 p.m.
Okay.
And that's just me. I think everybody's different.
How many subscribers do you have to the YouTube?
The dog, I think we're over 1,000. I think we're like I think we're like, I don't even know, over 1,000 last time I looked.
Right.
1,066. I don't even know, honestly.
Yeah, but the thing is, the amount of subscribers that you have, it doesn't match like how many people will view your thing.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah, because I have over I'm reaching close to 2,600. Okay, and I could put something up in a video and I'll get like 50 views. You know what I mean? It's like there's not 2,600 people that are subscribed that even care about what I'm putting up. They just so happen to like something else I put up and subscribed, or they're bots, whatever.
One thing I noticed too, like when I put up, say, Valerie or Mimi, 60-some% of the people who are watching it aren't subscribed to the channel.
Right.
You know, it's they'll search for Mimi, they'll search for Valerie, and certain people out there that they'll search for. The people that do really, really well aren't people who subscribe to my channel, or the dog channel, I should say.
Right.
I don't know that, but Dr. Zirconium does. But yeah, I find that also very intriguing. And sometimes the best videos are people who aren't even ones who apparently click enough to want to pretend to watch it, at least the company. Yeah. And I wonder why that is.
No clue. It also sometimes it depends on who I post. There's local guys that I post up. This guy Jeremy Lacroix, he's kind of been wrestling about a year. He's an amazing talent. Every time I post him, it's an instant 200 or more views, like right away. And I find that interesting. He's been getting out there a bit, but it's not that popular. But I mean, he's getting pretty popular around here. But he's a very good young wrestler. But for some reason, the internet loves my clips of when I post him every time. It's amazing. I find it interesting. It's like I can post somebody that's really hot, like a Flash Waller, Dustin Waller, and I don't get a lot of views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
sometimes I think also the algorithm really just takes basis on the most random stuff.
Yes.
You know, when it comes to the name stars, they don't always do as well as you would think they would. You know, but sometimes they also will. And I've had videos where I posted name stars, and some videos will do really well, and then I post them again and they don't do well at all.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, honestly.
Yeah, and if I actually probably spent down and went through every single analytic and every single thing, I'd probably be able to figure out the pattern, but that seems like a lot of work.
Well,
And
I'll
Dr.
tell you this
Ciccone
much.
doesn't pay me at all.
I'll tell you this much. The YouTube, if you post women's wrestling, it absolutely loves women's wrestling. Anytime I post something, it gets tons and tons of views for some
Yeah.
reason. Maybe there's a lot of perverts out there. I don't know. But
DK's always leaving comments about various women's booty part pictures and stuff like that.
BK is not doing that.
I always have to delete that every time there's a comment and somebody's got a little going a little cheeky and he's going crazy.
You, sir, are a liar.
Crisis fixed.
Is everything working now, DK?
Oh, of course not, but, hey, we're going. Some people are in Scotland who shouldn't be. So.
He's bringing me back a flag, so I'm happy.
So,
what is a luchador doing in Scotland?
Yeah, where else would a luchador be?
I don't know. I don't think kilts and luchador masks go well together.
From what I understand, Go ahead, sorry, DK.
I was going to say that would be a good picture, and I think that our luchador in Scotland should take one like that.
Haggis tacos is just not something that sounds appealing.
You whine like a mule. Yeah, like a mule.
So we got through the NWA. We started talking about streaming. We talked about certain wrestlers. DK, anything you want to talk about real quick? And you want to bring up some comments or anything?
Anything I want to talk about real quick? All right. I have a secret to share with some of you people.
You're pregnant.
Yes, I'm pregnant. No, most of you don't know, but I was in the hospital briefly over the weekend, and I don't know anything that's going on in the world of wrestling since about last Wednesday. I watched Power this week, just literally like today, so that we could talk about it tonight. And I know nothing else that's going on in the world of wrestling. I don't know. I think, are we still 2 weeks away from WrestleMania or less?
It is April 20th. It's April 19th and 20th. So this is the first time I think WrestleMania is being held on Easter weekend.
Is it on Easter or is it the week before Easter?
No, that's Easter weekend.
Easter is April 20th. So it's April 19th and 20th. Which I find insane. I don't know. I don't know if they planned that right away. They didn't know that Easter was Sunday when they planned that, or the only time they can get into the building. Well,
and also, you know what? Back in the day, those type of holidays used to do well in wrestling because people were stuck home and they wanted something to do to get away from their family.
Maybe
Christmas,
that's actually Thanksgiving. Yeah, the NWA, AWA used to hold big events like that on Thanksgiving and Christmas every year.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're thinking that there's a huge appropriated pagan holiday that's been appropriated into a Christian holiday. I really want some hard-boiled eggs right now and some Reese's peanut butter eggs.
Ooh, Reese's
peanut butter eggs?
I hate eggs.
Oh, but the Reese's peanut butter ones.
Oh, right? Peanut butter eggs. I thought you were talking about eggs. No.
I'll take eggs too, but Reese's peanut butter eggs is right now. That's what I really want.
I like the Cadbury cream eggs, and I'll take those, but that's about it.
I only like the chocolate cream ones.
Oh, my goodness. I like the original.
Have you had them deep fried?
They're too sweet for me.
What? Deep fried?
Oh, no. All right. They're deep fried in the same batter that you use for funnel cake.
Okay.
And then they're powdered sugar on them, and then you eat them like that.
That sounds very
diabetic. Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't say diabetes on a plate. I don't know what does.
DK, you cannot be taking that, all right? You're barred from them.
Yes, I very much am.
So any good comments, DK?
Any good comments?
Well, all right. Well, at least ones we can talk about.
What do you guys think that there's a rumor that Nick Aldis is coming out of retirement to wrestle Randy Orton? Did you hear this rumor?
I have, because of with what's his name being hurt.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens.
Do we
think
know
that
who's
there's?
really hurt?
Do you
Jake's
think
been
there's?
hurt.
Do you think there's any reality to this at all?
Who's left it in a short notice that they could make somebody care about Randy Orton to wrestle? It'd be insane to have Randy Orton as big a star he is not on WrestleMania doing something.
Yeah.
And there is history between him and Aldis. I'm
Really?
sure Aldis would have liked more notice, but he does seem to have kept himself in good shape. Maybe he can get a really good trainer like the Undertaker's wife to help him get in shape.
I'd really like to see that match. That might, like, right now, this year might be the first year in a very long time I'm not really interested in WrestleMania. Like, usually I'm like very excited for it to come. This year I'm just not completely interested. I mean, usually as it gets closer, maybe once I start watching, I'll get a little bit excited. You know what I mean? I'll get into it, but who knows? Like, there's no real matches that I'm like screaming, I need to watch this event.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, and I was kind of hoping. Honestly, I was really hoping for Aldis versus Pierce, but I will take.
I would
Aldis.
love to see. I would love to see that if that happens. Who knows? It can at some point in the future. But I mean, why?
Yeah.
I mean, all this is still relatively young, and I mean, not. I guess he's not an old man, and he's in great shape. I think that he could still have a pretty decent run. Why he's just has a non-wrestling role in WWE beyond me. Maybe he wanted to retire. I don't know. Maybe he was tired of getting beat up.
Well, he had was it a back injury?
Okay.
Probably from carrying the NWA for so long.
I don't remember if he had a back injury or a neck injury, but when he first, because he was, I think, originally supposed to do a little more in TNA, and then two things screwed that up.
Right.
And then afterwards, they were he was still recovering from, I want to say, a back injury.
Right.
And I'm not 100% sure that's it, but that's what I want to say. And we'll see from there. And I wouldn't mind seeing him against Randy Orton as long as it's basically a squash match, because at this point you can't put all this in a serious match with Randy Orton.
No, I don't know. I'd like to go out there. I mean, I know it's been a while since he's been as an in-ring competitor, but I think that the two, if they went out there to put on a match, I think they can have a very good match.
Yeah. Well, that's if you're going to use Aldis as a wrestler from then on.
Right. Yeah.
You can't put him out there in a one-off and say, go have the best wrestling match.
Right.
And then, come back. If he's going to go from a general manager to a wrestler, then you can have him be a surprisingly good wrestler against Orton. Otherwise, it's got to be. I'm not saying he can't have any offense, but it's got to be more squash than not. Adam Pearce has suggested that with injuries and stuff like that he does not have. He doesn't really have much left to put on in the ring. So,
right.
I don't know what that means. So
I think I'm going to disagree with you though, DK, because I'm thinking about it. I mean, they still use a lot of part-timers as competitive wrestlers. And I mean, what about the guy who was the commentary that's on ESPN? What's his name?
Pat McAfee?
Pat McAfee.
Oh,
Pat McAfee had some good matches and looked competitive.
Don't say that. I disagree with you. I'm sorry. He's just.
You think he was trained
I can't stand Pat McAfee. Like, seriously, he's just.
Yeah, but that's personal though. But as a wrestler, he was trained by that. He was trained by who was his name? I can't think of his name now. He was a trainer in OVW, and I think he also helped train in
Rip Rogers.
Rip Rogers, yeah.
Oh shit!
He was
really?
trained by Rip Rogers initially. People don't realize that.
That's interesting.
And I know a lot of people don't like the guy from the Drinks Prime, but
Logan Paul, right?
Yeah, Logan Paul.
I think that he puts on.
Job.
I think that he puts on. He puts his heart into it. I think he does put on decent matches. You know what I mean? Good matches,
Yeah.
And they put him in there with everybody. You know what I mean? So they must have confidence in him. I haven't seen him fail at all. You know what I mean? He's had a lot of really good matches so far. And he's in there part time, but working that style, man. I mean, you'd think that dude would just break something. You know what I mean?
To me, Logan Paul works better as a part-time occasional wrestler than
Yeah.
like the year where he tried to be a serious wrestler. He's good. He's very good. He's better than some of the other people. But how can I explain this? There's a pizza place up in Fort Worth I really, really like. And somebody asked me, do you go there a lot? I said, no, because every time I go, it's very special. I go, if I went there a lot, I don't know that it would be a special.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I like it to be a special place. There's an ice cream place that's not a few blocks from it, and it's the same way. It's like, it's a treat when I get to go there. It's a treat when I get to go to the pizza place, when I get to go to the ice cream place. By the way, anyone in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the pizza place is Cane Russo, and the ice cream place is Melts. Excellent, both of them. And, but yeah, it's like, I think with Logan Paul, he's really special when he wrestles 3-4 times a year.
Yeah.
I kind of get tired of him if he's, on SmackDown, Raw, and
he's the McRib.
Yes.
Every once in a while, I can't wait to have a McRib, and then I have a McRib, and I don't want to have one for a while. But when it shows up again, I want to have one.
McDonald's has said that.
Yeah.
McDonald's has said that they cannot keep the McRib on any menu.
Yeah. Who would want it? It was on the menu full time. Yeah.
But they go when they occasionally take it national. They go, it's always for sale somewhere in the country. They rotate it through parts of the country.
Right.
And then every now and again, they'll do a special national thing. But they go, if it's on the regular menu, nobody wants it. When it's a special nostalgic throwback, it's their top seller. So
now I'm hungry.
Yeah, well, teach you to bring up food.
Yeah, we always do on this program. We always ready to bring up food. If you do come to the June 28th dog event at the Sacred Heart Church School in Riverton, New Jersey, 103 4th Street in Riverton, New Jersey, there is a really good ice cream place around there too that I recommend. I'll make sure I get the name of it because I don't remember it. But they have some very delicious ice cream there for you. Either of you want to come to that event. Hint, hint, not Dutch. All right. Anything else going on before we cut this one short?
Nothing going on here. Just trying to get back to some sense of normalcy, which, after a hospital visit's never the easiest thing on the planet.
By the way, you never did tell me how you got out of that straitjacket.
It took some twists and turns and a couple of dislocated joints, but, you do what you have to do.
He was in the padded room. He was running back and forth like it was a wrestling ring and doing maneuvers.
And let me tell you, I can do that Randy Savage elbow drop.
So, all right. Anybody else? Anything else you want to push, Rick?
I have a show this weekend, this Saturday, if I can just bring that up.
Yeah.
Saturday, April 12th, Coliseum Pro Wrestling presents Opportunity for Success 4. This is our 4-year anniversary show. It's the Elks Lodge, 265 Main Street, West Haven, Connecticut. You can see the return after being out a year from injury, Fly Nine Noriega, some gentlemen that I brought up earlier today, Jeremy Lacroix, Giorgio Lawrence, Jay Vara is going to be in attendance. The Haven will be there, Patrick Saint and Red Sawyer, collectively known as the Trenches. It's going to be an outstanding show. And if you're in Connecticut, the New Haven area, Connecticut, if not any around surrounding areas, come on down. It's going to be a great show.
It, and hopefully you post the results on the Discord and send it to us and we'll mention it. Well, maybe when Jay is back, because I won't be here, maybe you can take my spot and you can talk about the results and hype about what happened.
Sure.
How about you, DK? Anything with you? You're on mute.
Nothing with me currently. Trying. Buildings. Talking. I hate the world.
Yeah, that's Dog and Dr. Zirconium and myself know that one very well.
So
again, we Dog has the event coming up on Rowan University. That's going to be this next Thursday, 1 week from today. That's why I won't be on the podcast. I don't know if we'll be able to send you any results because the building isn't great for that. But I know if you check out various things, we will try to see if we can go live on the various YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, and everything. And they usually try to get some stuff so you get some of the excitement. Videos will be taken and it will be on the dog YouTube channel. Also, then a couple days later at the South Jersey Geek Fest, if you go to the South Jersey Geek Fest, we're part of that event. So you can go buy your ticket, go check out things like Dragon Ball Z and Star Wars and Star Trek and anime and comic books and TV shows. And there's going to be a beer garden. And of course, there's Dog Pro Wrestling. So make sure you check that out. It's free as part of the event. And then after that, there is the Sacred Heart Church on June 28th. That's a bit of far away, I know. So more's going on there right now. Currently on the card is DKM Bundles will be there, and former WWE superstar Tank Tolan will be there. So that'll be something that's going on. Really cool. If things go well, maybe there'll be some NWA connection. We'll see. If you have any questions, just make sure you check out all our socials, dogprowrestling.com. It says pretty much most of them, but we're also on Reddit and Blue Sky. And obviously, please check out the dog YouTube channel. There's some stuff that's going to be uploaded. I want to make sure you see it. Both the Rowan event and the one with the South Jersey Geek Fest is going to be recorded for video, so make sure you check that out too, because we'll have lots of content going on for a while. Hopefully it'll get us going for the Sacred Heart. All right, and that's pretty much for me. And buy some shirts and W for Jay.
I don't know. Seems like Jay should be here if we want them to do something for him.
Have you used W yet, Rick?
No, I had them as a sponsor for a short period, and I don't know. Is it any good?
I like it as a very tasty products.
Yeah.
Natural caffeine doesn't affect me as much as most people. I mean, I was drinking gallons of it, but it tasted very good, so I'll give them that credit. I like the mental focus.
I'm more of a black coffee type gentleman, and lots of it and very strong.
Don't look at me. I'm tea or hot chocolate.
Oh God.
Well,
come on now.
Fine. Same to you, Rick.
He had done so much he went blank.
Yeah, you got mad there, didn't he?
No, I'm only joking.
You need a great little graphic to put in your little empty picture there slot for next time you come on. All right, guys. I think this is it. We pretty much talked everything we need to talk about this week.
Yeah.
I agree. So, Rick, thank you for joining us the last 2 weeks as Jay has ignored us and had a happy time with his family or something like that. He somehow thinks we're more.
I hope you do come back next week because I won't be able to be here. And I think it'll be interesting to try to see you and Jay and DK and have you back. Maybe you should be a occasional member, a special roving reporter for the Alliance guys.
Yeah, I'm very, I'm pretty open. So, I'm always willing to come back. So I love coming on here and talking to you guys and Jay. So I have a lot of respect and love for this program.
Please message me your email so we can send you some stuff for Dog. Okay. And I'll make sure to push everything for you any way I can.
Absolutely. I got you. I think we're on Facebook, right? We're friends on Facebook.
We're on Facebook. I know
I think we're friends on Facebook. I'm just trying to remember.
Send a friend to Dr. Zirconium because I actually don't have a Facebook. Only Dr. Z does, but I'll make sure he gets a hold of you.
Gotcha. All right.
I don't believe in all that other stuff.
All right.
Yeah, he's weird. All right, gentlemen, with that, all that's left to say
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.